Coming up on Mountain News this morning, state lawmakers use the new legislative session to try to give even more relief to flood survivors and future victims of natural disasters. And farmers from every corner of the Commonwealth gathered to discuss the future of agriculture here in the Commonwealth.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning to you. 5:34 here on this Wednesday morning. I'm Dakota Makris. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast this morning. Brandon, good morning to you. It's good to be back.
Good morning and welcome back. I had a little bit of fun yesterday. God love Olivia's heart. She was a trooper. We had some mic issues there at the 6:30, but we got through it.
I told our producer, I said, I would have just gone to the house. just take it off. I'm leaving.
We made it work. We made it work. I actually ran into somebody yesterday. Where was I at? Oh, at the hospital. I was getting some blood work done. No, I was at the Dollar General store here in Hazard. I have my days mixed up. But anyway, she said her granddaughter said, hey, he had to do news and weather yesterday. So, hey, listen, got to be a jack of all trades, right?
Literally.
That's exactly right. All right. Let's take a look at our forecast this morning. We were looking at some heavy rain out there in parts of the area. Now, here's the thing. It's heavy rain, but it's not severe. We don't expect to see any issues, so just kind of a take it easy on the roads, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going this morning, and just make sure you have your rain gear handy. Pikeville, US 119, US 23 intersection. We are looking again at some quiet conditions. The rain has not reached them just yet. Some light traffic over there, but again, it's headed that way. Pikeville and Harlan finally back online for being offline there for about almost 2 weeks there, but 61 up in Pikeville, 59 in Harlan, 61 in Hazard, 61 in Irvin, 63 in Somerset, and down to 50 over in Clintwood this morning. But a lot of mid to upper 50s out there. I see Manchester is back online there at 50 as well. We're looking again across the state. You can already see out toward Carbondale where the cold front is, because it's already down into the 40s out that way. Still in the 60s here in the east, but that cold front is going to get us, and once it does, we're going to be back into January-like temperatures, maybe just a little bit warmer than average, but still 65, or actually about 66 later this afternoon. But again, last warm day for a while until maybe we get some more warm air here in the next few weeks. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, we now know the identity of the man killed in an officer-involved shooting here in Perry County. Well, the coroner, Wayne Bowling, tells us 49-year-old Jerry Preston of Krypton was the man killed in the shooting Monday. The exact circumstances of the incident have not been released, but KSB troopers say after police arrived to the Krypton community, Preston became, quote, a deadly threat to law enforcement. Troopers say a sheriff's deputy used his issued gun to shoot Bowling. The coroner says Preston was taken to Hazard ARH and was pronounced dead. A school bus driver was arrested by West Virginia State Police following a crash that sent 6 students to a hospital back in September in Wayne County. Well, West Virginia State Police say 43-year-old Walter Colley was under the influence of drugs when he crashed his bus into a utility pole on September 12th. Officials say about 40 students were on board at the time of the accident along Mill Creek Road in Fort Gay. 6 students were injured and sent to a hospital. Well, it's back to work for members of the Kentucky legislature. It's a non-budget year, and leaders say the priorities will be cleaning up bills and housekeeping measures. The House Speaker says it will be more of a traditional short year session, but some are optimistic for other issues that have failed to find final passage in other sessions. Harfield Pendleton has more on what took place on the first day of the 30-day session.
Kentucky lawmakers will work to pass several laws during the first week of the session, and one of them will be focused on a further reduction to the state income tax. That's House Bill 1.
Well, certainly it does take money out of state coffers. About $600 million this year, about $1.2 billion in 2024, and we happen to believe that it's good policy to allow taxpayers to keep more of their hard-earned money.
But several groups gathered Tuesday to voice opposition to it. They say that it hurts the poor and retirees and only helps the rich.
We will either see big cuts to public services we all rely on, tax increases that will inflict higher taxes on the poorest of us, or both.
There's questions if some issues that saw more traction last year will finally pass this year, such as sports betting, medical marijuana, or even legalization of small amounts of cannabis.
Constitution of the United
States. A group gathered in the rotunda to push for voters to decide to decriminalize marijuana possession.
It's a matter of racial equity. Nationally, people who look like me
are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession. And in Kentucky, that disparity gets a whole lot worse.
Legalization of recreational use has been a hard sell in Kentucky, but medical marijuana did find enough support in the House last year, but failed to get support in the Senate.
And it's not that I'm opposed to medical marijuana. I think it needs to be done in an appropriate way, and we have appropriated monies to the University of Kentucky so they could give us indicators, ideas, methodology.
Stiver says if there are enough votes in the caucus, it'll come to the floor for a vote. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
House and Senate leaders also say another bill they need to move on this week impacts a Bowling Green nursing home that could lose federal money if they don't act. Well, a new $150 million housing recovery strategy will also be on the docket for this legislative session. AHART, or Affordable Housing Emergency Recovery Trust Fund, would help lay out a groundwork for how Kentucky responds to disasters. Included in the $150 million would be money for new homes and repairs for flood victims. And State Senator Brandon Smith of Hazard is in support of AHART.
And we know that there's places that people pay a very high rate for, and it's not that great, but it's your only option. So we already had a crisis before and was not being addressed. And this flood simply pushed it to a whole different level.
Housing Development Alliance in Hazard is an AHART partner. Executive Director Scott McReynolds is unsure if the fund will be passed, but he's hopeful it will bring attention to the housing crisis in eastern Kentucky. It will be a busy day for Governor Andy Beshear, who will also give his State of the Commonwealth address tonight. He'll deliver it in a joint session of the State House and Senate. The governor says education will be a key driver in his address. In a tweet, he said the future of our Commonwealth is being built in public schools and says it's time to invest in them and our teachers. The address begins at 7. It'll be broadcast on KET. The justices of the Kentucky Supreme Court issued their opinion in a case involving new laws limiting the governor's power during emergencies. On December 29th, the Supreme Court unanimously rejected a lawsuit Governor Beshear filed against the top leaders of both the House and the Senate. The governor claimed they went against the state constitution with new legislation passed during the 2021 session. In a statement, Senate President Robert Stivers from Manchester praised the ruling as a monumental victory for the legislative branch and to the people of Kentucky who voted to send them there. Senator Mitch McConnell is now the longest-serving Senate leader in history. He surpassed Montana Senator Mike Mansfield's record of 16 years when the new Congress convened on Tuesday. Senator McConnell has been a Republican representing Kentucky in the Senate since 1985. Here is a portion of what the senator told lawmakers about the milestone.
The greatest honor of my career is representing the Commonwealth of Kentucky in this chamber and fighting for my fellow Kentuckians. But the second greatest honor is the trust that my fellow Republican senators have placed in me to lead our diverse conference and help them achieve their goals.
Well, farmers from every corner of the Commonwealth gathered to discuss innovations in farming and the future of agriculture in Kentucky. Derek Parham joined growers at the Kentucky Fruits and Vegetables Conference to learn more.
The conference gathers growers from all over Kentucky, encouraging them to share ideas and innovations with fellow farmers and with the organizations that support them.
It's designed to be different educational tracks to meet the needs of the different grower segments. So we'll try to bring in, things that are trends in the industry, emerging needs, that kind of thing, and then of course the traditional content that we always do, fruit production, vegetable production.
The conference encourages young farmers to find their own place in the agricultural industry as well.
I think for the older generation, to be able to see that kids are interested in this, we can teach them, and we also, as a younger generation, teach the older farmers to be able to just, not take us in, but be able to work with us.
Conference representatives also hope that young people continue to take interest in the agricultural industry.
I think the average farmer is 58 years old in Kentucky, roundabout there. We do offer free registration for students because we want those younger folks to come to the programs and learn and meet people and meet growers, see what growers do kind of, as their careers.
Regardless of their experience level, all of the farmers here have come to learn from one another and create a better future for growers across Kentucky.
Well, the conference wraps up today. Well, just ahead this morning, the world of music mourns the loss of Fred Wright, the drummer for the famous band Earth, Wind and Fire.
And the forecast will improve condition-wise later today, but temperatures will return to more seasonable levels after today. The latest forecast in about 3 minutes.